Waitress exposed for kindness to undercover boss discover the incredible twist that changed her life. Sunday mornings at the diner always buzzed with energy. The smell of freshly brewed coffee hung in the air, mingling with the sweet aroma of syrup-drenching stacks of pancakes. Customers laughed and chatted, sharing stories over their breakfast plates. Among them was Sarah, a dedicated waitress whose infectious smile radiated warmth. In her 30s, she balanced being a single mother and caring for her ailing mother at home. To the world, she epitomized the American dream, pouring her heart into her work at the bustling diner that felt like a second home. Sarah knew everyone by name, from the retired teachers and local shop owners to kids who once sat in high chairs but now laughed over bacon and eggs. Her genuine kindness often spread like wildfire. One Saturday morning, she noticed Tom, a regular, seated alone at his usual booth. He looked lost in thought. As she approached with a pot of fresh coffee, she flashed her trademark smile. "How about an extra pancake today, Tom?" His eyes brightened, and he chuckled softly, nodding. "Only if you're having one too." Moments like these kept Sarah going. If she could spread a little joy, maybe she could fight back against the weight of her struggles. She juggled dinner shifts with school runs and late-night phone calls to check on her mom. It was a dance she had mastered, though it often left her breathless and on the brink of tears. Yet, what Sarah didn't know was that her world was about to shift. An undercover boss from a major chain had slipped through the diner's doors. With the flair of a regular customer, he slipped into a booth, eager to observe. Hidden behind the guise of a warm smile, he watched as Sarah poured herself into her customers, unknowingly becoming the heart of the diner, a family stuck together through thick and thin. As the rush of brunch unfolded, laughter echoed and food flew. Just as the diner's atmosphere radiated happiness, a tiny whisper of surprise bubbled. In an instant, the boss's identity was revealed, and the crunch of silverware halted. Disbelief rippled through the room, and eyes darted from the boss to Sarah. A wave of betrayal washed over her like a cold shroud. "You watched us, for what?" she demanded, her heart racing, feeling exposed like never before. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." "Now let's continue." Whispers of judgment floated through the diner. Some customers exchanged glances, uncertainty swelled. Sarah felt the weight of 1,000 eyes. She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was a symbol of every struggle, every moment of hard work tucked beneath the surface. And as fury bubbled in her chest, a wave of support surged from her loyal customers, rallying around her. That moment cemented her in the community's heart. In standing firm against the assumptions that painting her as just a waitress, Sarah challenged not only the boss but herself. Would her unwavering spirit, her kindness, and the love from her community redefine her worth? Because if the small-town diner couldn't hold together kindness and connection, then what could? The question ignited a spark, leaving the diner buzzing with anticipation. Sarah might just be the voice to fight back against the shadows of prejudice, but could she carve out a path of respect and dignity in the process? The answer lingered in the airy echoes of the diner, as everyone held their breath, waiting for the next chapter of Sarah's journey to unfold. Life swirled in a dizzying dance as Sarah stood frozen in disbelief. The weight of her emotions pooled deep within her, a storm of anger, confusion, and despair. Could this boss truly understand the heart of their diner, or was he just another stranger looming over their lives with no connection? Tom, sensing her distress, slid out of his booth, his eyes locking onto hers. "Sarah, we are with you," he said, his voice steady and warm, cutting through the tension. The chorus of murmurs quieted, as if everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. With her heart pounding, Sarah turned toward the boss, who now wore an expression of surprise mixed with a hint of remorse. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice trembling but fierce. The unseen audience of diners leaned in, caught in a collective moment of breathless anticipation. I wanted to see how things really were, the boss stammered, the mask of his usual authority slipping away. I saw people working hard, like you, and hard, Sarah interrupted, emotion spilling over. You think it's just about hard work? You don't know what it's like to juggle endless struggles. I'm more than just a waitress. The crowd behind her erupted in a chorus of agreement. It was a moment of unity, a testament to their shared experiences. Their lives intertwined at this diner, they were more than patrons and staff. They were family, woven together by late-night coffee runs, laughter shared over pancakes, and tears brushed away in the shadows. Listen, I came here with a plan, the boss said, finally gathering himself. But what I found is something completely different, a community. I regret not recognizing how vital it all is. Your kindness matters more than metrics or profits. I didn't mean to come here and hurt you. Sarah felt a flicker of something shift in her, a mix of disbelief and vulnerability. It was almost as if she could see a glimmer of sincerity under the guise of corporate intentions. But could she trust it? What do you even know about sacrifice? She replied, the anger simmering down to something more poignant and raw. You've been watching us from afar. Talk is cheap. The silence stretched as doubt hung in the air. But one by one, customers began to voice their support, recounting moments of warmth Sarah had offered. Stories poured out how she had brightened their mornings, listened to their worries, and even supported those in need when she had so little to give. The realization hit the boss hard as the truth of community unfolded in front of him. Maybe I've been blind, he admitted, his voice cracking under the weight of honesty. But I want to do better. If you let me, I want to help this diner, help you. Let us create something meaningful together. A phone chimed in the background, breaking the overwhelming tension, but no one moved. Eyes remained fixed on Sarah, waiting for her response. Part of her wanted to reject him, to throw his confession back at him, but another part whispered of possibilities, of change. Could this be the start of something new? A chance to make a real difference, not just for herself, but for everyone around her? Help? She echoed softly, contemplating the potential buried in the chaos. What does that even mean? The room seemed to lean in, eager for her answer, enveloping Sarah in their shared hope. She stood on the precipice of understanding, teetering between past hurts and future opportunities. And just as clarity began to dawn, the boss continued, I have an idea that might change everything, but it hinges on your willingness to trust me. Sarah's heart raced at the possibilities, yet doubt crept back in. What choice would she make? Would she take a leap of faith, or guard her heart? The decision loomed, and with it, the unfolding of her journey had barely begun. What lay ahead could alter not just her life, but the lives of everyone around her. Would she seize the opportunity or retreat to her fears? The diner held its breath, waiting for Sarah's response. Her voice could change everything. The air was thick with anticipation as the eyes of the diner settled on Sarah. The boss stood before her, his words hanging like fragile glass in the silence. Sarah searched for words, her heart pounding as a chorus of thoughts collided in her mind. What were you really expecting? She said finally, her voice steadying, yet laced with frustration. To come in here, toss a few plans around, and think that would change everything? The boss seemed to shrink under her scrutiny. I know it sounds naive, but I just wanted to talk about talk. She cut him off again. You think you can just slide in and start fixing things without knowing what's broken? His shoulders slumped, and for a moment, Sarah thought he might retreat. But he took a deep breath, his eyes flashing with determination. I want to fix this. I truly do. Fix what? Sarah countered, her anger simmering. We've built this place together. It's more than just numbers on a page. You say you seek community now, but you didn't before. Why should I believe you? Somewhere in the crowd, a woman spoke softly, because he's here now. The words seemed to ripple through the room, causing just a moment of hesitation for Sarah. Does that even matter? She murmured to herself, though it was loud enough for the diners to hear. The hum of agreement fluttered through them. The boss pushed on, his voice low but urgent. What if I told you that I want to help you improve this place? I'm talking real resources. New programs, better hours, even a community menu where we can give back. The idea hung in the air, bright and shiny, tempting and confusing. It felt like a lifeline cast into rough waters. But at what cost? Sarah's mind whirled, considering the past, the countless times she had watched her coworkers struggle to make ends meet, the tightness of their smiles hiding deeper, unseen scars. Yet, what if his words were more than just an empty promise? What if they really could transform the diner into something better? Something that could hold their community together rather than just serve breakfast? I don't know, she whispered, the uncertainty licking at her heels. From her booth, Tom piped up, encouraging rays of hope in his voice. Sarah, this is a chance for all of us. We've watched each other support one another here, and maybe this is the time to let others support us. As she looked around the room, the faces she cared for mirrored her conflict. Fear and hope danced in their eyes, sharing the burden of trust, just like they had shared their struggles over countless dinners. Will you really put the work in? Will you actually listen? She asked the boss, her voice softening, threading doubt with curiosity. I promise, he said, his gaze steady. And I want to hear what you all have to say. I can't do this alone. A flicker of connection sparked within Sarah. The weight of the world felt a little lighter. Perhaps they could build something together, not just for their diner but for everyone who called it home. Then maybe we can talk, she said slowly, a cautious smile blooming on her lips. But as the gathered crowd began to stir with excitement, a loud crash sounded from the kitchen. Dishes shattered, breaking the hopeful moment like fragile glass. The weight of unexpected chaos rushed back, swirling the emotions in the room once more. Everyone, stay calm. A voice shouted, but panic raced ahead as shadows of uncertainty crept in. What now? Sarah thought, her heart racing again. Would this derailing moment undo everything they had just begun to build? Outside, thunder rumbled ominously, and the world suddenly felt like a storm about to break. As the boss turned toward the kitchen and Sarah felt the pull of her diner family behind her, she knew that their journey was just beginning. In this space of possibility, what challenges lay ahead would test their newfound alliance. Would they come together or fall apart when the storm finally hit? The sound of shattering dishes echoed like an alarm bell in the bustling diner. Sarah's heart pounded as the chaos unfolded, tightening her grip on the edge of the counter. She darted toward the kitchen, urgency fueling her steps. In the back, steam billowed out of the kitchen as the head cook, Maria, stood frozen, her hands trembling. A tower of plates had tipped over, cascading onto the floor like an avalanche. Customers peered in, concern knitting their brows. Maria. Sarah called out, rushing to her side. Are you okay? Maria blinked, her eyes reflecting confusion and anger. I'm fine. Just a little overwhelmed. She gestured wildly, her voice strained. It's like a cyclone back here, everything's going wrong. Orders are piling up, and now this. The boss followed closely behind Sarah, his expression shifting from concern to determination. Seeing the havoc, he stepped forward. Okay, let us regroup. We can fix this. Fix what? Maria shot back, her voice nearly rising above the din. Your fix doesn't mean anything when there's no foundation left to hold on to. The tension thickened like the storm clouds outside. Sarah felt her heart tighten. Maria was right. They had labored through chaos before, but this felt different. The weight of history hung in the air. They had all fought for this diner, now, it felt as if it was slipping through their fingers. Look, I get it. The pressure's real. The boss raised his hands, trying to calm the brewing storm. But let us take it step by step. I need your help to understand how we can do this together. Together. The word washed over Sarah like a salve, but it felt far from reality in that moment. She glanced back at the diners peering in, witness to their vulnerability. She took a breath, feeling the shared energy of the room pushing her forward. All right. Sarah said, turning back to the chaos, determination reigniting in her voice. What do we need to do, Maria? How can we fix this? Maria took a moment, her mind already racing with recipes and steps. We need to prioritize. The tables out front are waiting for pancakes while the orders from the special don't even have ingredients prepped. Let us split the work. Yes. Let us get everyone organized, Sarah agreed. Tom can help you with prep while I take care of customers out front. Everyone else should gather what they can. The boss added, catching the urgency in the air. Let us make this a team effort. We'll get through it one plate at a time. The energy in the kitchen shifted. With newfound clarity, they swept into action. Sarah dashed to the front, her heart racing not just from fear but from fierce hope. The diner's spirit was being forged anew, right before her eyes. As they moved, the thunder outside seemed to cheer them on, rumbling like a roaring audience. Plates were served, orders filled, laughter pierced through the kitchen opening as people leaned in to help. Sarah felt a strength building among her crew. The bonds they were forging felt deeper than any menu. Moments later, the storm inside mirrored the storm raging outside. Just when they thought they had the upper hand, a blaring noise erupted, a warning siren that forced them to pause. Gasps filled the air. Is that? Maria's voice faltered. It can't be, Sarah whispered, her stomach dropping as every head turned toward the windows, silhouetting the flash of lights that seeped through the glass. The world outside was changing fast, but what came next would not only collide with the diner but challenge everything they had just rallied for. A sudden surge of urgency hit Sarah. Was this the storm that would tear them apart, or would it be the storm that solidified their unity once and for all? As the wailing sirens echoed through the diner, a sinking feeling settled in Sarah's stomach. The yellow and blue lights outside flickered, casting an ominous glow on the faces peering anxiously through the glass. The frantic beeping seemed to blend with the rhythm of their chaotic kitchen, heightening the tension. Sarah! What's going on? Tom called from the prep station, his hands full of pancake batter. The rest of the crew, equally startled, paused in their tasks, eyes darting toward the windows. I don't know. She shouted back, the uncertainty in her voice evident. It might just be a drill or something worse. Maria stepped forward, her earlier anxiety shifting to a fierce resolve. We can't afford to let this shake us. Remember what we just accomplished? Her voice, strong and steady, cut through the rising doubt. We need to keep going, no matter what. Right. Sarah nodded, feeling a spark of courage. They had fought through the chaos just moments ago. This wouldn't be the end. Let us keep moving. We have orders to fill. As she heard the muffled announcements drifting in through the door, the words ran together, making her heart race even faster. A part of her wanted to flee, to hide from whatever was happening outside. Another part urged her to stay, to stand by her team. The bustling din returned as they focused on the tasks at hand, but undercurrents of worry coursed through the kitchen, palpable as raw nerves. Just stay calm, everyone. We're not out of this yet, the boss said, though even he seemed a little paler than usual. The door swung open, and the gust of wind brought with it the smell of rain and a flood of anxiety. A figure stepped inside, drenched and panicked, causing the entire diner to fall silent. It was a local, someone they all recognized but never really knew. There's a tornado warning. He gasped, clutching the doorframe as if it were the only thing keeping him grounded. Gasps filled the diner again, and Sarah felt the weight of every pair of eyes shift to her. What about our customers? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. We can't just leave them here. Maria interjected, her face a mask of resolve. We're a family here. We look after each other. Let us serve dessert and get everyone ready to leave. Find out who needs help. So they moved. One by one, the crew worked together, filling plates and serving coffee while glancing out toward the windows, the sky darkening by the minute. Every sound outside was amplifying their fears, yet the determination within the diner was rising. As they hustled, Sarah noticed a little girl in the corner, clutching her stuffed animal tightly, tears welling in her eyes. Without hesitating, Sarah knelt next to her. Hey there. You're brave, right? How about we make this a fun adventure? What kind of dessert do you like, chocolate or strawberry? The girl's breath hitched, looking uncertain. I like chocolate. Then let us make sure you get the best chocolate cake we've got. Sarah smiled, her own fears momentarily forgotten as she felt a rush of purpose. Just then, a loud crash erupted from outside, the sound reverberating through the diner like a warning shot. Everyone turned again, hearts pounding in unison. What was being unleashed out there? Okay, everyone. The boss shouted, his voice rising above the thunder. Let us hustle. Keep moving, stay close. Our priority is safety. But as they worked, a familiar face appeared in the doorway, a neighbor who had been a once frequent visitor to the diner, but had recently become a ghost in their community. The look of fear in her eyes was undeniable. Can you help me? The woman pleaded, her voice breaking. I just saw a tree fall on my house. My kids are inside. I need to get them out. The moment paused. Sarah felt her heart racing. Could she really help? Should she risk everything for someone she barely knew? The weight of the choice pressed upon her. Was she ready to step up once again? Somewhere between the chaotic scene unfolding and the storm that loomed outside, Sarah knew one thing: this was a test of their spirit, and she wouldn't back down without trying to save those in need. As she took a deep breath, she prepared to make a choice. Would she seize this moment, this chance to truly make a difference? Or would fear shackle her in indecision? With eyes locked on the woman in front of her, Sarah took a step forward, her voice filled with newfound determination. Let us go. But what awaited them outside was the storm, both literal and metaphorical, ready to reveal their true strength. They charged out of the diner, the sound of the storm deafening as the wind howled and rain pelted down like pebbles. Sarah felt her heart racing in her chest as she and the neighbor pushed through the door, determined to reach the house that now loomed in her mind like a dark shadow. Where is it? Sarah shouted over the roar, her eyes darting to catch a glimpse of the neighbor's frantic expression. Just up the block. The woman yelled back, urgency painting her words. They sprinted, adrenaline outweighing fear. Each step felt heavy, yet she pushed onward, the little girl's chocolate cake smiling back at her like a beacon of hope. They were outside now, the chaos of nature swirling around them, but all that mattered were the lives at stake. Stay close. Sarah called back to the neighbor, who was struggling to keep pace in the storm. In moments like this, the mundane slipped away. All the little worries of day-to-day life fell silent. Would her paycheck be enough this week? Would the diner be open tomorrow? It was all eclipsed by a single, overwhelming question: could they save the children? There was a break in the trees, and they darted onto a narrow path, leading toward a small, unassuming house. It looked intact, though ominously quiet amidst the tempest. As they approached, Sarah felt a tightening in her chest. That stillness could mean anything. Are you sure they're in there? She asked, searching the neighbor's face for reassurance. The woman nodded fervently, her eyes glistening with desperation. I saw them in the window before everything happened. They have to be okay. Just then, another crash echoed nearby, causing them both to stumble. Rain stung Sarah's face, blurring her vision and mixing with the chill crawling up her spine. We have to hurry. They reached the porch steps, and Sarah raised her fist to knock, but the door swung open before she could. Startled, she glanced at the shadowy figure that appeared in the doorway, a little boy, barely clinging to his stuffed bear, eyes wide and terrified. Mom! He shouted, and like a dam breaking, that singular word felt like an anchor pulling Sarah into action. Mom, help! Crisis ignited a familiar recollection for Sarah, the nights spent in her own childhood when storms raged outside, and her mother had always remained calm, ready to embrace her fears with love. She remembered how those moments formed a bond, family over fear. Stay behind me, she called, pushing gently past the boy to step into the house. The scene unfolded shockingly, dust whirling through the air, the living room in disarray as furniture had shifted from the storm. Mom! The boy cried out again, darting inside, but Sarah grabbed his shoulder before he could go too far. We need to stay safe. Where are your sisters? "I think they're in the back," he whispered, tears glistening on his cheeks. The tree fell on the garden. "We were playing there." Sarah felt the panic rising. "They couldn't waste time. Let us go," she urged, guiding him cautiously through the chaos, the neighbor right behind them. They needed to get to those kids, they had to. With each step, her resolve solidified. She was just a waitress, merging kindness and courage against life's tempest. This was her moment, the kind of bravery that wasn't about fame but about humanity, the kind that could save lives. As they neared the back of the house, a loud creak echoed from above, and the entire structure shuddered under the storm's pressure. The air was thick with uncertainty, but Sarah pressed forward, bursting through the door that led to the small backyard. Her heart leapt as she spotted two girls huddled together, their small bodies shaking but alive. "We're here. Don't worry, we'll get you to safety." But in that split second, disaster struck. The sound of cracking wood filled the air, and a loud crash resonated again. Only this time, it wasn't a tree, it was the roof above them. Sarah's instincts kicked in, adrenaline flooding every nerve. "Get out now," she shouted, the urgency boiling over as she raced toward the girls. Would they make it in time? Or was this just the beginning of an unimaginable struggle? The storm had awakened something much deeper than fear, a test of the very spirit they fought to preserve, one that would ripple through their community forever. Sarah's heart pounded a relentless rhythm as she plunged into the backyard, the deafening roar of the storm fading behind her momentarily. The sight of the girls, small and trembling, instantly ignited a flame of resolve. "Hold on tight," she shouted, bracing herself against the chaotic backdrop. She reached them just as the ground beneath her trembled. "We need to go." The urgency in her voice cut through the noise, and Sarah grabbed each girl by the arm, her motherly instincts roaring to life. "What's happening?" one girl cried, bewildered, her eyes wide with fear. "Just stay close to me, and we'll be safe," Sarah reassured them, even as her own heart quaked with uncertainty. Before they could make their escape, a deafening crack snapped through the air. The roof of the house splintered, sending shards of wood plummeting into the space where they had just been standing. Sarah ducked, pulling the girls down behind the remnants of an old picnic table. "Stay down," she yelled, her voice fierce yet laced with a tenderness only a protector could evoke. They huddled together, the girls' small bodies shaking but managing to stay close, comforted by Sarah's presence. Seconds felt like hours as the rumble of thunder echoed overhead, reverberating through their bones. I can't," one of the girls gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "Breathe. You're okay. Just follow me." Sarah guided them through the rain, powerful gusts battering against them like impatient hands. Their escape was interrupted by the sound of splintering wood above again. With adrenaline spiking, Sarah turned to see the shadows of the roof ceiling within the house shifting dangerously, the walls moaning as if protesting their attempts to flee. "We have to hurry." With one last push, they scrambled away from the collapsing structure, stepping into the chaotic embrace of the storm. Out in the open, the wind slashed at their skin, but Sarah held them steady, her determination an unbreakable bond among them. Adrenaline surged, and with each stride, her vision narrowed. She could see the edge of the street just a few yards ahead. "Over there!" yelled the neighbor, who had finally caught up with them, breathless but unwavering. "We can shelter by my house. Let us go." Every step felt like a test of will. The ground beneath their feet was slick, water pooling in grim puddles that threatened to slip them up at any moment. But Sarah felt the girl's grip tighten on her hand, a lifeline. That power surged through her, igniting her heart with a fierce hope. When they finally reached the neighbor's porch, Sarah turned to the girls, who were now wide-eyed and trembling. "You're safe. We made it." She knelt down, looking into their fearful faces. "You're going to be okay." Just then, another crash echoed behind them, drawing their attention. The house they had escaped from erupted in splintered chaos as the roof finally collapsed, a cloud of dust and debris billowing outward. A sinking feeling settled in Sarah's stomach. Were there others still inside? "What about your mom?" Her voice trembled as tension gripped her, the weight of worry pulling her back toward the disaster. The younger girl swallowed hard, her eyes brimming with tears. We don't know." she stuttered, initiating a chain reaction of panic that clenched at Sarah's heart. With her resolve hardening, Sarah turned back toward the wreckage, determination flickering anew. "Stay here," she commanded, though she could hear her own heart racing. "I'm going to find her." As she moved back toward the collapsing house, a rush of moisture mingled with tears. She had to act, had to believe they wouldn't lose anyone else. The sound of the storm drowned out her thoughts, but there was no way she could turn back. The wind howled like a banshee in the distance, echoing her own fears, but one thing was clear: this storm wasn't just about the weather anymore. It was about everything they held close. Would Sarah find the mother before it was too late? Through the chaos, a flicker of hope remained, whispering that every moment counted. As Sarah approached the crumbling structure, every instinct within her screamed to turn back. But the cries of the girls lingered in her ears, tying her to their fate. She could feel the rain soaking through her clothes, blurring her vision, yet each step felt purposeful, each heartbeat resonating with determination. The porch creaked ominously as she moved closer. From where she stood, the house was a heartbreaking sight, its walls sagging and battered, having fought the storm yet lost. Shadows danced across the darkened windows, and the air felt thicker as a fresh wave of heartbreak washed over her. "Please let her be okay," she whispered under her breath, clenching her fists. Around her, debris cluttered the yard, painting a chaotic picture of despair. Was the mother trapped? Was she hurt? Questions swirled in Sarah's mind, but she pushed them aside, focusing on what she needed to do. "One step at a time," she murmured, glancing back at the shelter of the neighbor's porch, the girls' fearful faces still fresh in her memory. With each careful step toward the wreckage, memories flashed through her mind: her own children, laughter echoing in the halls of home, the warmth of family dinners around a table. The thought fueled her forward, a fire igniting each breath. "Is anyone there?" she called out, her voice strong but tinged with fear. Silence washed over the ruins, interrupted only by the patter of rain. "Please, if you can hear me." Suddenly, a soft whimper broke through the sound of the storm, drawing her attention to a darkened corner near the half-closed door. Sarah rushed over, heart racing. "Hello? Is someone there?" Another whimper. It was faint, but unmistakable. She crouched low, glancing into the darkness. "I'm here. I'm going to help you." Shivers coursed through Sarah as she noticed movement. A figure, slumped and half-visible amidst the debris, held onto a child, tightly gripping her. "It's okay. I'm here," Sarah called out, her voice cracking. Hope surged anew, buoying her heart yet keeping her feet planted firmly in place. "Help!" The woman's voice was hoarse, barely breaking through the chaos around them. "My baby, please." Without another thought, Sarah surged forward, digging through the wreckage. Every piece of splintered wood felt like a monumental task, but she could hear the mother's desperate breaths urging her to keep going. "I'm coming. Just hold on." The girl's hand emerged amidst the mess, small and crying, and Sarah grasped it gently, careful not to cause any more harm. "I've got you," she whispered, trembling from the sheer weight of the moment. Finally, Sarah was able to pull the child free. Relief surged through her, but it was overshadowed by a panic that gripped her at the sight of the mother's pinned form. "I need you to breathe. You're going to be okay." She hadn't realized how close the surface might be until she looked into the mother's eyes, wide with fear and pain. Time stood still, each second pressing upon her chest like a stone. She could feel a dark weight pushing all of them toward despair. "Help is coming. Just hold on." But as Sarah maneuvered to free the woman, another crash echoed from above, sending a spray of debris tumbling toward them. The mother's eyes went even wider. "Get down!" Sarah shouted, instinct driving her forward as she flung herself over the woman and child, praying she could shield them from the falling chaos. It was a moment suspended between fear and hope, but something stirred within her, an unwavering belief that they could survive this together. In darkness, in danger, she would fight. As the dust settled, a chilling question loomed in the air: had they lost precious seconds? Where would help come from when everything around them was falling apart? Would this be another heartbreak or a revelation of strength? Only time would tell. The ground trembled beneath Sarah as she lay there, heart racing. A cloud of dust enveloped them, mingling with the smell of damp earth and decay. Her pulse thundered in her ears, drowning out everything else. She focused on the fragile weight of the little girl's hand in hers and the desperate gaze of the mother. Once the chaos subsided, she pushed herself up slowly, the aching pressure of fear and urgency urging her on. She glanced back at the pair, breathless. "Are you both okay? Can you hear me?" The mother nodded, tears streaking down her dirt-smeared face, but her eyes still held fear. "Just get me out of here. Please." Her voice broke, heavy with emotion. Sarah glanced at the remnants of the ceiling above them, wood and metal, strewn like broken dreams. "I'm going to lift you," she said, determination stealing her heart. "On the count of 3, I need you to move." The mother gripped her daughter tighter, nodding slightly. 1, 2, 3. Sarah heaved, forcing debris aside, wresting the mother's body from the rubble. Every muscle in her screamed with effort. The woman cried out, but it wasn't from pain, it was a mix of relief and resolve. With a mighty push, Sarah was able to expose a path for them. "You can get out. Crawl over here." The little girl whimpered and clung to her mother, but with a gentle tug from Sarah, the mother was inching her way toward freedom, eyes blinking against the dim light filtering through the dust. "I can't just leave her," the mother whispered, glancing back at the wreckage that held them all captive, her gaze fierce, like a lioness. "You I've got her. Just keep moving." The child let out a sob, and the knot in Sarah's stomach tightened. With each desperate moment, Sarah felt the world narrowing, compressing around them. She kept her focus on the door just a few feet away, trying to visualize escape. "You're doing great. Just a little further." The mother breathed heavily, her fingers trembling as she moved closer and closer to the light. At last, Sarah saw an opening. Almost there. A loud crash echoed above, and Sarah's breath hitched. She glanced upward, dread creeping in as more debris shifted precariously above them. "Keep going. Please." The urgency in her voice mingled with her own desperation to not let them down. Finally, they were both at the exit, arms outstretched, hope igniting the path to safety. Sarah scrambled to pull the girl free from her mother's grasp, but just as she did, more wood cracked ominously above them. Praying it wouldn't collapse, Sarah yanked the girl back from the edge, her own heart pounding with fear for all of them. "Now you." She pushed the mother toward the exit, but she hesitated. "Not without my baby." The woman's voice rang with fierce devotion. The weight of her love struck Sarah hard. "You're going to be separated for just a second. I promise I'll get both of you out." The mother's gaze faltered, filled with overwhelming fear and determination. "Do it," she urged, her voice cracking. With a burst of adrenaline, Sarah pushed the girl clear and dragged the mother toward the opening. A fresh surge of sounds cascaded through the air, crackling wood, fragile screams, and the relentless rain pounding the ground. As they reached the threshold, the world outside beckoned, glimmering in the gloom. But the question loomed in Sarah's mind: would she be able to pull them both to safety in time? The storm raged, a cruel reminder that moments like this could change everything, and all she could do was hope that they would overcome this together. But what if there were still more dangers lurking in the storm? Sarah pulled the mother and child through the agonizing remnants of what once was a home. The dust hung heavily in the air, but hope surged like a heartbeat, echoing between them. "You're almost there," she urged, adrenaline coursing as they neared freedom. Every creak of the wood felt like a countdown, a reminder that time wasn't on their side. One more push. The mother gritted her teeth, resolve shining through the fear. "I can't leave my baby. Trust me. I promise I'll get you both out," Sarah said, her voice a beacon amid chaos. With that assurance ringing in the air, they surged forward, breaking through the threshold and tumbling into the storm. The rain poured down like a cascade of relief when they finally emerged, drenched but alive. As the three of them hit the ground, Sarah immediately glanced back to ensure the safety of the little girl. "Stay close." The storm held around them, but Sarah's heart raced not just from fear but from triumph. They had made it together, but the night was not over yet. The thunder crackled ominously, a reminder of the home they had just escaped. The cacophony of sirens continued to blare in the distance, yet as they made their way toward the neighbor's porch, Sarah felt a wave of strength surging within her. They had the power to make it through, as long as they held on to each other and that unbreakable bond. Once safely sheltered, Sarah knelt before the timid little girl, whose soft whimpers pulled her back to reality. "It's okay, sweetheart," she soothed, wiping the tears from the girl's mud-streaked cheeks. "You're safe now." The girl nodded, trembling, and the mother, still gasping for breath, wrapped her arms around both Sarah and her child. Thank you so much," she stammered, tears intertwining with the rain on her face. Sarah's eyes glistened as her heart filled with warmth for these souls, whom fate had intertwined so suddenly. "You did it. You all did it. Together," she replied softly. As they stood embraced in that moment, echoes of laughter streamed in from the diner. Sarah felt the community surrounding her, their strength pouring into her like a flood, a beautiful reminder that no one was alone. They had fought hard, together, through darkness and rain, through the turmoil that life had hurled their way. The storm didn't just challenge them, it bound them. And as Sarah turned her gaze toward the diner with a bright light shining from within, everything clicked into place. After the chaos, hope remained. "Let us head back," she said, glancing at the mother and daughter with a fierce smile. When they stepped back into the warmth of the diner, they were met with cheers. Familiar faces shone with pride. Tom and Maria stood at the forefront, arms wide open, ready to welcome their new family members. Inspired by their bravery, the community felt like the sun breaking through the clouds. "You did it, Sarah." Tom beamed, stepping forward to wrap his arms around her. "You were amazing." But Sarah knew that their strength was a collective force. "We did it," she corrected, glancing lovingly at the mother and daughter. "Together." As laughter and joy filled the diner once again, Sarah took a deep breath. She watched the transformation around her, a wave of gratitude washing over her. The storm had revealed their truest selves, each of them united in their humanity. No longer flinching in the shadows of doubt, she understood that the kindness she had always poured into others had flowed back into her, filling her cup of hope to overflowing. They had not just survived, they had triumphed. With a beaming smile, Sarah stepped up to the front of the diner. "Let us keep this spirit alive. Let us keep looking out for one another," she declared, feeling the warmth of support radiating through the crowded space. The diners erupted in applause, united under a shared sense of purpose. The world outside might still be stormy, but within these walls stood a family, resilient and ready for whatever lay ahead. "Together we can build something new," Sarah concluded, her heart soaring. "We'll transform our diner for every single soul who walks through the door." And as they gathered around each other, a bright light flickered on in the hearts of everyone present. It wasn't about titles or the corporate ladder, it was about kindness, community, and standing together against any tempest life threw their way. As a newfound strength surrounded the diner, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. They were ready to take on anything together. Now is your moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. You need to be part of this journey. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Together, let us keep spreading kindness and hope. Don't wait not even one more second.